Hello everyone, welcome to Talent Sprint. In this session, we are going to discuss about the problems on calendars, which is very common in many competitive exams. This is a very interesting area where we have to find out the day of the week for the given date. And the questions here can be classified into two broad categories. Category 1, where we need to find out the day of the week for the given date when some other date and day is specified, and category 2, where we need to find out the day of the week for the given date when there is no other date or day being specified. This whole idea of finding out the day of the week for the given date is based on the concept of odd days. But before we learn anything about odd days, let us discuss a few basics of calendar. Calendar, as you all know, is an instrument which is used to indicate, keep and organize the days in a given year. You must be aware that we all follow the Gregorian calendar, which is also known as the Western calendar or the Christian calendar. And in the Gregorian calendar, the year starts on the 1st of January and ends on 31st of December. This calendar has been named after Pope Gregory XIII, who designed it in the year 1582. So let me make it clear that in this session, whenever we use the word calendar, we would refer to the Gregorian calendar, which is internationally the most widely used civil calendar. Moving on, we know that a year is classified into two types, or there are two types of years. One is an ordinary year and the second one is a leap year. So let us understand what is the difference in these two years. So as I've mentioned, there are two types of years, ordinary year and a leap year. An ordinary year has got 365 days. Whereas in a leap year, as you all must know, we have 366 days. So basically the difference here is a leap year has got one more day than an ordinary year, right? Ordinary year has got 365 days, whereas leap year has got 366 days. So one additional day when compared to an ordinary year. Let us now understand what is the need for a leap year. Why does it so happen that we have one extra day in a leap year, which you know occurs every 4 years? The reason that we have a leap year which occurs every 4 years is to keep our calendar in alignment with the Earth revolution around the Sun. Earth takes 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes and 46 seconds, which is approximately 365 days and 6 hours. Or we can also equate it to 365 complete days and 1/4 of a day. So this is the time required by the Earth to complete one circle around the Sun. Hence, an ordinary year, though it is considered to have 365 days, it actually has 365 and 1/4 of a day. Now in a leap year, which occurs after every 4 years, we have one extra day, which is a result of 4 quarter days in those 4 years. So the point here is, if we do not consider this one additional day every 4 years, that is in a leap year, we would lose 6 hours from our calendar every year, which is about 24 days in 100 years. That is, if we assume that all the years are ordinary years without having any leap year, and every year has got 365 days, then every 100 years we would lose 24 days. So to keep our calendar in alignment with the Earth's revolution around the Sun, we have a leap year which occurs every 4 years. And this leap year has got one extra day. So this is the precise reason that we have a leap year with one extra day, and it occurs every 4 years. It is there just to match our calendars with the Earth's revolution around the Sun. Let us now understand how do we decide whether a given year is an ordinary year or a leap year. The simple point here is that if the given year is divisible by 4, then it is a leap year. And if it is not divisible by 4, then it is to be considered an ordinary year. For example, 2014. How do we check if 2014 is a leap year or an ordinary year? Just divide 2014 by 4. If 2014 is exactly divisible by 4, then it becomes a leap year. Otherwise, it is an ordinary year. Now you know the divisibility for 4 from the number systems topic. How do we check if a number is divisible by 4 or not? Just consider the last 2 digits. If the last 2 digits of the number is divisible by 4, then the whole number is divisible by 4. So here the last 2 digits in 2014 is 14. Now is 14 divisible by 4? No, 14 is not exactly divisible by 4. Hence 2014 is also not divisible by 4. And if 2014 is not divisible by 4, then it is an ordinary year. So we can say 2014 is an ordinary year. Right? Likewise 2015. 2015, you know the last two digits are 15, and 15 is not divisible by 4. Hence this is not a leap year. It becomes an ordinary year. And when we look at 2016, what happens? 2016, the last two digits are 16. And because 16 is exactly divisible by 4, we can say 2016 is also divisible by 4. And from the rules we know that if the given year is divisible by 4, then it becomes a leap year. So 2016 will be a leap year. Likewise 2020 will be a leap year. Or for that matter 2004 was a leap year. And so on. So if a year is divisible by 4, then it becomes a leap year. Whereas if it is not divisible by 4, for example 1999 is not divisible by 4, hence this is an ordinary year, right? 1947 is 47 divisible by 4? No, this becomes an ordinary year, right? 1948, let's take 1948. You know that 48 is divisible by 4, hence 1948 becomes divisible by 4, and it makes it a leap year. So simple point here is, if the given year is divisible by 4, then it is a leap year, like in all these cases, 2016, 2020, 2004, 1948 and so on. And if it is not divisible by 4, 2014, 2015, 1999, 1947 or any number there for that matter, if it is not divisible by 4, then it is to be an ordinary year. Right? So 2014 becomes an ordinary year, 2016 becomes a leap year. But remember, this rule is not applicable for century years. Now what do you mean by century year? Century year means 2000, 1900, 1800, 2100, right? Century is 100 years. One century is 100 years. So for century years, this divisibility by 4 is not applicable. For a century year to be leap year, it must be divisible by 400. For example, if you look at 2000, the year 2000 is divisible by 400. Hence 2000, the century year, can be taken as a leap year. Whereas if you look at 1900 is a century year. Now here if you go by the logic of last two digits, that is 2 zeros here, you know that 1900 is divisible by 4. Right? So if 1900 is divisible by 4, we cannot say that it is a leap year. Because it is a century year, we have to check that divisibility by 400. Now is 1900 divisible by 400? No, 1900 is not exactly divisible by 400. So 1900 becomes a part of an ordinary year or a non-leap year. So the point is, for century years, 1700, 1800, 1900 and so on, it will be a leap year if it is divisible by 400. Otherwise it becomes an ordinary year. For example, let's say 1800. 1800 is not divisible by 400, so 1800 becomes an ordinary year. And if you take for that matter 1200, is 1200 divisible by 400? Yes, 1200 is divisible by 400, so we can say 1200 is a leap year, right? So the point is, a year to be leap year, it must be divisible by 4, and for a century year to be leap year, it must be divisible by 400. Otherwise, these are considered to be ordinary years, which have got only 365 days. So if the question says that is 1862 a leap year or not, how do we check? This is not a century year, so we have to check that divisibility by 4. Now the last two digits here are 62. Is 62 divisible by 4? 62 is not divisible by 4. Hence this number here 1862 is not divisible by 4. So this becomes an ordinary year. So 1862 is an ordinary year. Right? If it is 1868, let's say, is 1868 divisible by 4? Yes. 68, the last two digits 68 goes 17 times in 4. So we can say 68 is divisible by 4. Hence 1868 is also divisible by 4. And if it is divisible by 4, then it becomes a leap year. And if it is a century year, for example 1100, was 1100 a leap year? No. This is a century year. We have to check the divisibility with 400. 1100 is not divisible by 400. So if it is not divisible by 400, we can say it is a non-leap year or an ordinary year. But 800, the year 800 Is it divisible by 400? Yes, 800 is divisible by 400, and we are checking the divisibility by 400 because it is a century year. So since 800 is divisible by 400, it becomes a leap year. So 800 is a leap year, 1100 is an ordinary year, 1862 is an ordinary year, and 1868 is a leap year. So that's the simple logic to check whether a given year is leap year or an ordinary year. Let us now learn the concept of odd days, which is the most important part in answering questions from calendars. So as per the definition, in a given period, the number of days more than the complete weeks are called odd days. So in any given period, the number of days which are more than the complete weeks are referred to as odd number of days. For example, let's say a period of 10 days. 10 days is equivalent to 1 week plus 3 days. So we can say there are 3 odd days in a period of 10 days, right? If you say a period of 15 days, in a period of 15 days, it can be split as 2 weeks plus 1 day, right? 15 days equal to 2 complete weeks. 2 weeks is 14 days and 1 additional day. So this additional number of days after complete weeks is referred to as odd number of days. So in a period of 15 days, we have 1 odd day. Likewise, if we say a period of 30 days, in a period of 30 days, we have how many weeks? 4 complete weeks. 30 days can be taken as 4 weeks and 2 days, because 4 weeks is equal to 28 days. So 30 days can be split as 4 weeks plus 2 days. So in a period of 30 days, we have 2 odd days. Likewise, for any given period, the number of days more than the complete weeks are referred to as odd days. For example, let's say a period of 50 days. Now in a period of 50 days, we have how many weeks? 7 complete weeks, because 7 weeks is equal to 49 days. So 7 weeks and 1 day. So 50 days can actually be split as 7 weeks and 1 day. So therefore there is 1 odd day in a period of 50 days. Likewise, if you say a period of, let's say 49 days. Now 49 days is equal to 7 weeks. And there is no additional number of days, right? So 7 weeks plus 0 days. So we say in a period of 49 days, we have 0 odd days. There is no odd day, right? Likewise, in a period of 28 days, 28 days is equal to 4 weeks. There is no additional number of days, right? So there are 0 odd days in a period of 28 days. So the simple point here is the number of days which are more than complete weeks in a given period are referred to as odd number of days, right? Now let's move on. Let's say 100 days. 100 days is equal to how many weeks? 7 into 14 is 98. So 7 into 14, 98. So there are 14 weeks which makes up 98 days, and then 2 days more. So this can be taken as 14 weeks plus 2 days. So we have 2 odd days in a period of 100 days. Let's take an ordinary year, right? An ordinary year, as you know, has got 365 days, right? So let's consider, let's understand how many odd days do we have in an ordinary year, right? Now in an ordinary year, you know, we have got 365 days. Now these 365 days can actually be split as 52 complete weeks. Yes or no? You must be aware that in a given year we have 52 complete weeks, right? So 365 days can be taken as 52 weeks plus 1 day. Yes or no? 52 weeks is equal to 364 days. 52 into 7 is equal to 364. So 52 complete weeks and 1 additional day. So 1 odd day. So we can say that in an ordinary year we have 1 odd day. What happens in the case of leap year? Let's understand that. In leap year, as you all know, leap year has got 366 days. So these 366 days can be taken as 52 complete weeks plus 2 days. 52 weeks again is equal to 364 days plus 2 will give you 366. So we say there are 2 odd days in a leap year. So the point to be noted here is that in any ordinary year there is only 1 odd day, and in any leap year there would be 2 odd days. And in general, for a given period, the odd number of days can be calculated as the number of days which are more than the complete weeks. Before we move ahead and calculate the number of odd days for longer periods of time, that is what will be the number of odd days in 100 years, or the number of odd days in 200 years, the number of odd days in 700 years, the number of odd days in 2014 years, and so on. Let us first understand how does this idea of the number of odd days help us in deciding the day of the week. Now the point to be noted here is that 1st January 0001 AD, that is 1st January of the first year was a Monday. Right, we are now in the era of AD, right, 2014 AD. So the 1st January of the very first year was a Monday, which means a day before that was Sunday. Now you might be wondering, how come we have something before first day of the first year? Well, that was the period of BC. Now we are into AD. So that day which was before 1st January of the first year AD was Sunday, and that is taken as our reference point. Now, which means in a given period of time, if we have 0 odd days, then the day is considered to be Sunday. Likewise, when we are finding out the number of odd days for a given period, and if it comes out to be 1, then that date is considered to be a Monday, right? It falls on Monday. Likewise, if we have 2 odd days, then it is taken as Tuesday. 3 odd days will give us a Wednesday. 4 odd days will give us Thursday. 5 odd days means the day is Friday. And if there are 6 odd days, it means it would be Saturday. Likewise, if there are again 7 odd days is not possible, because we cannot have 7 odd days. 7 odd days is equivalent to 1 complete week. So 0 odd days. Again 0 odd days will give us Sunday. Right? If there are, let's say, 9 odd days. 9 odd days is nothing but 2 odd days, because 9 odd days is equivalent to 1 week plus 2 days. So 2 odd days will give us a Tuesday. So this is the reference that we need to use while finding out the day of the week, right? So in a given period, if we have, let's say, 5 odd days, if we get 5 odd days, then that last day of that period can be taken as Friday, because 5 odd days refer to Friday. Right? So for any given period, when we find out the number of odd days from this particular point, let's say from 1st January of the first year, that number of odd days would give us the respective day of the week. So for any given period, when we calculate the number of odd days from our reference point, what is our reference point? The day before 1st January of the first year, right? So we are starting from 0, right? So from that reference point, when we find out the number of odd days, we will get the day of the week. Let's say I have to find out what day will be 1st of May 2014. Now, if I can calculate the number of odd days from Sunday, the first Sunday, 0th day, right? From that day, if I can calculate the number of odd days up to 1st of May 2014, I can find out the day of the week, right? So based on the number of odd days, we can pick up the day accordingly from the given reference chart. So this is an important part that you need to remember for finding out the day of the week. Simply remember that 0 odd days is a Sunday, 1 odd day is a Monday, 2 odd days will be Tuesday, and so on up to 6 odd days will give us a Saturday. Having understood the definition of odd days and the reference chart which helps us in finding out the day of the week based on the number of odd days in a given period, let us now calculate the number of odd days for longer periods. For example, let's calculate the number of odd days for the first century, for the first 100 years, starting from 1st January of the first year to 31st December of the 100th year. So we are now going to calculate the number of odd days for the first century. Right, first century, so 100 years. What will be the number of odd days in 100 years? Now the number of odd days in the first 100 years would depend on the number of leap years and ordinary years in this period of 100 years. Now we know that leap years occur every 4 years. So to find out the number of leap years in the first 100 years, we'll simply divide those many years by 4 and check how many times do we get 4 in that period. So when we divide 100 by 4, we get 25, which means there should be 25 leap years in the first 100 years. But remember, 100th year, that is the last year in this period, is a century year, and we have discussed that for a century year to be a leap year, it must be divisible by 400. 100th year or 100 is not divisible by 400, which means the last year, 100th year, is not a leap year. So if you now understand, in the first 100 years, there will be only 24 leap years, right? There will not be 25 leap years. Don't simply divide 100 by 4 and say 25 leap years. The 100th year was not a leap year because it is a century year, and for a century year to be leap year, it must be divisible by 400, which is not satisfied in this case. So in the first 100 years, we have 24 leap years, and the remaining 76 were ordinary years. And we know that in each ordinary year we have 1 odd day. and in each leap year we have 2 odd days. So based on this, let us calculate the total number of odd days for the first 100 years. So in the first 100 years, we know there were 76 ordinary years and 24 leap years. Now we know that in each ordinary year there is only 1 odd day. So the total number of odd days would be 76 into 1. Plus in each leap year we have 2 odd days. So total number of odd days in 24 leap years would be 24 into 2. Now 76 into 1 is 76, 24 into 2 is 48. 76 and 48 would be 124. So altogether we have 24 odd days in the first 100 years. That means in the first century, from first year to the 100th year, there were 124 odd days. But again, 124 odd days can be taken as some number of complete weeks plus extra number of days. For example, 124 here would be 17 weeks, because 17 into 7 is 119. So 119 days is equal to 17 weeks. So 119 days plus 5 days, where 119 days can be taken as 17 weeks. So if we try to split 124 days in terms of number of complete weeks and additional number of days, we will get 17 complete weeks plus 5 days. And since we know that the number of odd days is the number of days more than the complete weeks, we can say there were 5 odd days in the first 100 years. So clearly in the first century, or for the first 100 years, we'll have 5 odd days. There were 5 odd days in the first 100 years. Now we know that the number 5 in terms of odd days represents a Friday. So if you understand, the first day of the first year, right, 1st January of the first year was a Monday, and we have taken the reference as the previous day, Sunday. Sunday is 0 odd days, Monday is 1 odd day, Tuesday 2 odd days, and so on. Now since we have got 5 odd days and we know that 5 represents a Friday, we can say that in this period of 100 years, the last day, that is 31st December of the 100th year, was a Friday. So this is how calculating the number of odd days will help us in finding out the day of the week for the last day of the given period. So we can say the last day of first century. Last day of the first century. What was the last day of the first century? 31st December of the 100th year was a Friday. And how do we know it was a Friday? Because in the first century we have 5 odd days. In the first 100 years we have 5 odd days. So this way we can always calculate the number of odd days for the given period, and based on that we can decide the day of the last date. So this is how to find out the day of the week for the given date. We need to understand the number of odd days from the starting point. And that number of odd days here will help us in finding out the day of the week. Let us continue this calculation of number of odd days for the first 200 years, first 300 years, and so on. We have already calculated that in the first 100 years, that is in the first century, there were 5 odd days, which implies the last day of the century was a Friday, because 5 means Friday, 5 odd days means Friday. Let us now do the calculation for first 200 years. So what will be the number of odd days in the first 200 years? Now we know that in the first 100 years there were 5 odd days. In the first 200 years there will be 5 into 2 odd days, because the first century and the second century would have same number of leap years and ordinary years. So if there were 5 odd days in the first 100 years, there will be equal number of odd days in the second 100 years as well. So the total number of odd days in the first 200 years will be equal to 5 into 2, which is equal to 10 odd days. Which means in the first 200 years there were 10 odd days. Now 10 odd days again can be split as 1 week and 3 days, and therefore we can say the number of odd days in the first 200 years were 3, and 3 odd days means the last day was a Wednesday. So we can now say that the last day of the second century was a Wednesday, because starting from our reference point, which was a day before 1st January of the first year, to the last day of the 200th year, we have got 3 days, 3 odd days. and 3 odd days indicates a Wednesday. So the last day of the 200th year was a Wednesday. So last day of the 100th year, 31st December of the 100th year was Friday, and 31st December of the 200th year was a Wednesday. Let's continue and see the number of odd days for first 300 years. So the number of odd days in the first 300 years. Now, going by the same argument that since there are 5 odd days in the first 100 years, the number of odd days in the first 300 years would be 5 into 3. Since the number of leap years and ordinary years is same for the first century, the second century as well as the third century. So total number of odd days would be 15. We have 15 odd days. But 15 odd days can again be split as 2 weeks. 2 weeks will be equal to 14 days and 1 additional day. So we can say the actual number of odd days in the first 300 years is only 1. There is only 1 odd day, and 1 indicates Monday. So we can say the last day of the 300th year was a Monday. So if you try and observe from 0th year to the 100th year, there were 5 odd days. So we got the last day of the 100th century, last day of the 100th year as Friday. From 0th year to 200 years, there were 10 odd days, or simplified as 3 odd days. So the last day of the second century comes out to be a Wednesday. And from 0th year to the 300 years, we have total 15 odd days, which can be simplified as 1 odd day. And 1 odd day indicates that the last day of 300th year was a Monday. Now let us do this for the first 400 years. Let's see what happens. In the first 400 years, now if you observe, in the first 400 years, we will have 5 into 4, because each 100 years we have got 5 odd days, right? So for first 400 years, we'll have 5 into 4 plus 1 odd day. Total number of odd days will be 5 into 4 plus 1, which is equal to 21 odd days. Now you may get it out. Why are we taking plus 1? Understand, the reason here is 5 into 4 is regular, like what we have done 5 into 2, 5 into 3 for first 200 years and first 300 years. Same way 5 into 4 for the first 400 years. But remember that 400th year was also a leap year. Yes or no? 100th year was not a leap year since it was not divisible by 400. 200th year was also not a leap year as it was not divisible by 400. And 300th year was also not a leap year as it was not divisible by 400. Right? You know that for a century year, 100, 200, 300, 400, for a century year to be leap year, it must be divisible by 400. So 100, 200 and 300 were ordinary years which had only 1 odd day. If you take simply 5 into 4, we are considering the 400th year also as an ordinary year. But we now know that 400th year is a leap year since 400 is divisible by 400. That means this 400th year will have 1 more day than an ordinary year. So that is the reason we have taken plus 1. Actually a leap year has 2 odd days. But understand, one of those odd days for the 400th year has already been considered in this part, 5 into 4. The additional odd day has been taken here. So that is the reason we have total number of odd days for the first 400 years as 5 into 4 plus 1, which is 20 plus 1, 21 odd days. Now 21 odd days is as good as 0 odd days, because 21 odd days can be taken as 3 complete weeks. 3 complete weeks plus 0 days. And 0 days, which means in the first 400 years we have number of odd days equal to 0. 0 odd days indicate that the day was Sunday. So now we can say that the last day of the 400th year was a Sunday, which means 31st December of 400th year was a Sunday, because the total number of odd days from 0th year up to the 400th year is equal to 0, and 0 indicates Sunday. So the point to be noted is, because in the first 100 years we have 5 odd days, the last day of the first century was Friday. In the first 200 years there was only 3 odd days, so the last day of the second century was a Wednesday. The first 300 years had only 1 odd day, and hence the last day of the third century was a Monday. And the first 400 years had 0 odd days, so the last day of the 4th century was a Sunday. And now that we have got 0 days for the first 400 years, we can say that this cycle of number of odd days will repeat itself. Because if you remember, we started from a reference point which was 0th day, the day before 1st January of the first year. It was a Sunday and that was the reference for us. So we started from 0 odd days and again we have reached 0 odd days in the first 400 years. So which means now the cycle is going to repeat. So now again, if you take the 400th year as the reference point, the last day of the 400th year as the reference point, it was a Sunday. Now what will be the number of odd days in the 5th century? The number of odd days in the 5th century will be equal to the number of odd days of the 1st century, because total number of odd days in the first 400 years is 0 and number of odd days in the next 100 years would be 5. So 0 plus 5 is 5. So we can say the number of odd days in the 5th century would be 5, and hence the last day of the 5th century will be a Friday. What will be the number of odd days in the 6th century? Understand, the number of odd days in the 6th century will be 5 again, because for every century where the century year is not a leap year, the total number of odd days will be 5. But starting from our reference point, we will say the number of odd days in the first 600 years will be only 3, because the number of odd days in the first 600 years will be equal to number of odd days in the first 400 years plus the number of odd days in 200 years, which is 3. So 0 plus 3 is 3. So total number of odd days in the first 600 years is 3. Number of odd days in the 6th century will be 5. Understand, the number of odd days in the 6th century will be 5, but the number of odd days in the first 6 centuries or in the first 600 years will be 3. So the last day of the 6th century will be a Wednesday. The last day of the 7th century will be a Monday. And again the last day of the 8th century will be Sunday. And this cycle continue to repeat itself. So if you say what will be the last day of the 9th century? 9th century's last day will be Friday. The last day of 10th century will be Wednesday. Last day of 11th century will be a Monday. And last day of 12th century again will be Sunday. And the cycle repeats. So the conclusion that we can make here is, if you observe, the last day of any century will either be a Friday or Wednesday or Monday or Sunday. It will never be any other day of the week. What are the remaining days here? Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. So that's an important point now. The last day of a century can never be a Tuesday or a Thursday or a Saturday. It should be either a Friday or a Wednesday or a Monday or Sunday. And the other important point that we can observe here is the last day of every 4th century will be a Sunday. Yes or no? 400 years, Sunday. Last day of 8th century, Sunday. Last day of 12th century will be Sunday. 16th century, Sunday. Last day of 20th century will be again Sunday. 20th century was the year 2000. So 31st December 2000 was a Sunday. Again 31st December 2400, which is about 400 years from now approximately. So again 31st December 2400 will be a Sunday. So two important points, or I can say 3 important points. Last day of a century will be any of these days: Friday, Wednesday, Monday or Sunday. So it means it cannot be Tuesday, Thursday or Saturday. So these are the 2 important points: what can be the last day, what cannot be the last day. And the third point is the last day of that century which is having a leap year as its century year will always be a Sunday. Now that we have already calculated the number of odd days for different number of centuries, like number of odd days in 100 years, 200 years, 300 years and 400 years, let us now take a simple example through which we will understand how to calculate or how to find out the day of the week for a given date. And as I've mentioned earlier, it depends on the number of odd days. So let's see how our knowledge of number of odd days helps us in finding out the day of the week. The given question here is, which day of the week was 15th August 1947? So 15th August 1947, a historic day for us, that is the Indian Independence Day. And I'm sure some of you would already know which day of the week it was without having to do any calculation there. But let us see how can we calculate the day of the week for 15th August 1947. For those who all remember, it was a Friday. So let's see if we get the same day through our calculation of number of odd days. Now what we are going to do here is find out the number of odd days from the 0th day up to 15th August 1947. As you know, 0th day was a Sunday, as we have discussed earlier, right? So from that day up to 15th August 1947, we need to calculate the number of odd days, and that will help us in finding out the day of the week for this date. Now, to make it simple, what we are going to do here is split this date in terms of different parts. For example, 1947, look at the year 1947. It can be taken as 1600 years plus 300 years. Now we'll understand why are we taking it as 1600 plus 300 going forward, but as of now 1600 years plus 300 years is 1900 years. Now there are 47 more years and 15th August of the 1947th year. So we'll take another 46 years. So far we have taken 1600 plus 300 plus 46, that means 1946 years, right? And now we are in the 1947th year. In this 1947th year, we have to reach 15th August. Now before August, we have 7 months, that is January to July. So we'll consider those 7 months, January to July. And in the month of August, after finishing July, we have August. Now in the month of August, we need to take 15 days, right? 15 day of the August, so plus 15. So if you observe, overall we have got 15th August 1947 as 1600 plus 300 plus 46, that is 1946 years. Then in the 1947th year, we are considering the months from January to July, and then the next month is August, where we need to take out the 15th day. So 15 will give you the final date here. So by adding all these, we get this date, 15th August 1947. Now we will calculate the number of odd days for each of these terms and add all of them together to get the total number of odd days. Now once we proceed in finding out the number of odd days for each term, you would understand the importance of taking 1600 and then 300 and then 46 and so on. So let's start calculating the number of odd days. We have understood that in 100 years there are 5 odd days. In a period of 200 years, there are 3 odd days. In a period of 300 years, there is only 1 odd day. And in 400 years, there are 0 odd days. That means every 400 years, the number of odd days would be 0, right? Now that we have taken 1600 years, this can be taken as 4 times 400 years. And in 400 years, if there are 0 odd days, in 4 times 400 years also there would be 0 odd days. Basically the cycle repeats itself, right? 0th year to 400 years, 0 odd days. Then 401st year to 800 years, 0 odd days. Likewise 801st year to 1200th year, 0 odd days. So we know that in 1600 years there would be 0 odd days. So let's take it as 0, right? The calculation here is for the number of odd days. Plus, then comes the next part here, 300 years. What will be the number of odd days in 300 years? Basically these 300 years represent 1601st year up to the 1900 year, right? Already we have taken 1600 years. Then 1601 up to 1900 will give us 300 years. Now we very well know that in 300 years there is only 1 odd day, which we have calculated earlier, right? So in 300 years we'll have only 1 odd day, so that comes here, 1 odd day for the second term, that is 300 years. Now comes the next term here, which is 46 years. Now when it comes to these 46 years, the number of odd days would depend on the number of ordinary years and leap years. We have understood that in every ordinary year there is only 1 odd day, whereas in a leap year there are 2 odd days. So what we need to do here is find out what will be the number of leap years and ordinary years in these 46 years. And if you observe, these 46 years represents 1901 to 1946, right? Already we have finished 1600, then 1601 to 1900. Now this comes the 1901 to 1946 year, right? Now we very well understand that leap year occurs every 4 years, and 1904 was a leap year since it is exactly divisible by 4, right? 1900 was not a leap year because for century years it has to be divisible by 400, which we have already understood. 1904 is a regular year. If it is divisible by 400, then it becomes a leap year. Now since 1904, the last 2 digits 04 are exactly divisible by 4, it is a leap year. So 1904 was a leap year, then 1908, 1912, 1916, 1920 and so on. 1924, 28, 1932, 1936, 1940, 1944. So all we need to do here is understand how many multiples of 4 do we have in these 46 years. How many exact multiples of 4 do we have in these 46 years? Now 4 into 11 is 44. 4 into 12 is 48. Now we cannot take into 12 because 48 is more than 46, right? So less than or equal to 46, how many multiples are there? 44. 4 into 11 is 44. So we have 11 multiples, right? We can say that 4 occurs 11 times in 46 years. That means there will be 11 leap years, right? 1904, 1908 up to 1944, 11 leap years. So out of 46 years, 11 are leap years and the remaining 35 years. 46 minus 11 is 35. These are ordinary years. So 11 leap years and 35 ordinary years. Now, what will be the number of odd days? We know that each ordinary year will have one odd day. So 35 into 1 plus the number of leap years are 11. And each leap year will have 2 odd days. So 11 leap years into 2 will give you the number of odd days. So what is the number of odd days in 46 years? 35 into 1, which is 35, plus 11 into 2, 22. Right? So that will give us the number of leap years for 46 years. Now comes this part, January to July. How do we calculate this? In the month of January, now this month here is for the 1947th year, right? Now here we are in the year 1947. Already we have finished up to 1946. So in January 1947, there were 31 days, right? So we need to take 31 days, right? We are trying to calculate the total number of days, which will give us the number of odd days, 31 days. Next month is February. February 1947. Was it a leap year? No. 1947 was an ordinary year. And a February month of any ordinary year will have only 0 days, 0 odd days. We'll have only 28 days, which means 0 odd days. So 0. Then comes the next month, March, which will again have 31 days. Then comes April, 30 days. Then comes the month May. May again will have 31 days, right? After May we have June, which has 30 days. And then we have July, 31 days. And after July we have August. And in August we are considering 15 days. So plus 15. Now this total from 0 up to 15 will give us the total number of odd days from first day, that is 0th day, up to 15th August 1947. So let's do this calculation and find out the total number of odd days. Before that, let us understand how can we make this calculation simpler, right? This is already very easy to understand. 35 ordinary years, so 35 into 1 odd days, and 11 leap years, which will give us 11 into 2 odd days. So 35 into 1 is 35, plus 11 into 2 is 22. 35 plus 22 is 57. So the number of odd days in 46 years is 57. But what can be done to make this calculation a little easier? The point here is, if there are 46 years, whether it is a leap year or an ordinary year, it will have at least 1 odd day. An ordinary year has 1 odd day, a leap year has 2 odd days. So 46 years will definitely have 46 odd days plus some additional number of odd days. And this additional number of odd days will depend on the number of leap years. So if you look at it, 46 years, right? We can say the number of odd days will be equal to 46 plus the number of leap years. How many leap years? 11 leap years, which you have already understood. Now in these 11 leap years, we have already considered 1 odd day in 46. Now each leap year will have 1 additional odd day, right? Ordinary year 1 odd day, leap year 2 odd days. So for all these 46 years we have taken 46, which means for every year 1 odd day has been considered. Now there are 11 leap years. In these 11 leap years there will be 1 additional odd day, right? So we'll say plus 11. 46 plus 11 is equal to 57. So as you can see, either we can understand the number of ordinary years into 1 plus number of leap years into 2, which gives us 57, or the simple way to do the calculation is take the number of years 46 plus the number of leap years. Each leap year will have 1 additional odd day, right? So plus 11 will give us the number of odd days in those number of additional odd days in those 11 leap years. So 46 plus 11, 57. So that's one part which you need to remember while calculating the number of odd days for these number of years, right? So that's one point which is very easy to understand and clear. Now comes the calculation of the odd days in each of these months. Instead of taking 31 in the sum, why don't we take only 3? Because 31 odd days is equivalent to 3 odd days. 31 odd days is 4 weeks, 28 days plus 3 days. So the point here is, instead of considering 31 days in January, let us say there are only 3 odd days in January. Then 0 remains 0, right? Understand, I'll keep a star here. This star mark indicates that you have to be careful when it comes to this month. We are taking 0 because this is February 1947. which was an ordinary year, so 0 odd days. But if it is a leap year, you have to take 1 in this case, right? So be careful for the month of February, right? If it is a leap year, take 1. If it is an ordinary year, take 0, right? So that 0 anyway remains 0. Then next comes 31 days in March. 31 days again can be taken as 3 odd days. So here we have 3. Then comes the month of April. April has got 30 days. 30 days again can be split as 4 weeks plus 2 days. So 2 odd days, 30 can be taken as 2 odd days. Likewise, the month of May has 31 days, which is equivalent to 3 odd days. Then comes June, 30 days, which is again equivalent to 2 odd days. Then comes the month July, which has total 31 days, which can be split as 4 weeks and 3 days. So 3 odd days. And 15 we have taken because it is the 15th day of the month of August. So 15. In fact, even 15 can be taken in a much easier way. We don't have to add 15. To make the calculation simple, I can say 15 is equal to 1 odd day. Why? 15 odd days is equal to 2 weeks plus 1 day. We very well know that odd days is nothing but in a given period the number of days more than complete weeks. So 2 complete weeks and 1 more day. So it can be taken as plus 1. So this way, instead of considering the total number of days of the month, we can only consider the additional number of days after complete weeks. So our calculation becomes easier. Likewise for 57 also, we don't have to add 57 in the sum. What can we do? 57 can be split as 8 weeks plus 1 day. 57 is equal to 56 plus 1. 56 days is equal to 8 weeks. 7 into 8 is 56. 8 weeks plus 1 day. So we don't have to add 57. I can say this is equal to 1 odd day. Alright. So we have learned 2 points here. One is how to make the number of odd days for 46 years simple. Right, instead of taking 35 into 1 plus 11 into 2, we can directly take 46 plus number of odd days. And the second point is how to make the number of odd days for the months, each of these months simple. What do? Instead of taking total number of days, only take the additional number of days. Now let us add all these values. Let us add all these values and find out the total number of odd days. So 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 plus 2 is 10, 10 plus 3, 13, plus 2, 15, plus 3, 18, and plus 1 is 19. So we can say total there were 19 odd days. But again, 19 odd days can be taken as 2 complete weeks plus 5 days. So this is equivalent to 5 odd days. Yes or no? 19 weeks is 2 complete, 19 days is 2 complete weeks plus 5 days. So altogether now we have understood that from the first day up to 15th August 1947 we have got 5 odd days. And from our reference chart we know that 5 odd days indicates Friday. 5 indicates Friday. So we can say that 15th August 1947 was a Friday, since 5 odd days represent a Friday. If we get only 4 odd days, we'll say it was a Thursday. If we get, let's say, 6 odd days, a Saturday. If only 1 odd day, we'll say it's a Monday. If we have 0 odd days, that becomes a Sunday. So this is how our knowledge of the number of odd days will help us finding out the day of the week, right? So the simple point here is to find out the day of week for any given day, we need to calculate the number of odd days. In what period? The number of odd days from the 0th day, or we can say the number of odd days from 1st January of the first year up to the given date. And the number of odd days here will give us the day of the week. But then I would say that this calculation is in detail, right? What we have understood is the detailed calculation in finding out the number of odd days. But this can be made much simpler. For example, we have taken 1600 so that we get 0 odd days directly. Then we have taken 300, we have directly taken as 1 odd day. The one thing which eats up a lot of time in this calculation is the number of odd days for all these months, January to July, right? So this part is actually a little time consuming to find out the number of odd days for each of these months and so on. So to get the answer much faster, let us now construct a reference chart. And that reference chart will help us in finding out the total number of odd days for this period directly without having to take it for individual months. And then we'll again calculate the day for 15th August 1947 and see how quickly can we get the answer. Let us now understand the reference chart which will give us the number of odd days for a given period of months without having to do the individual calculation for each of the months. Let's look at what the reference chart here is and what are the different columns here. So as you can see, the first column of this chart shows the months of the year, right, from January to December. Alright. and we have a star mark here for the month of February, which means that we need to be a little careful when it comes to that month. And the reason here is that February will have different number of days based on an ordinary year or a leap year, right? If it is an ordinary year, the month of Feb has got only 28 days, so 0 odd days. But if it is a leap year, Feb will have 29 days. That means there will be 1 odd day. So we have to be a little careful if the given year is a leap year, right? The second column here shows the number of days in each of these months, right? For an ordinary year, we have considered here an ordinary year. So if you look at it, in the month of January there are 31 days. In the month of Feb, 28 days. 28 because, as I said, we have considered an ordinary year here. If it is a leap year, it should be 29, and that is the reason that we have a star mark, which means we need to be little careful for that particular month. Then March again has 31 days, so on up to December we have got 31 days. So the second column indicates the number of days in each of these months. Look at the third column. The third column shows the number of odd days in each of these months. For example, in the month of Jan, we have total 31 days. 31 days can be split as 4 complete weeks plus 3 days. Hence we can say January has got 3 odd days. Likewise, the next month Feb, since it is an ordinary year, 28 days, and 28 days is exactly equal to 4 weeks. 4 weeks means 0 odd days, right? We have no extra number of days here. Then comes the month of March. March has got total 31 days, meaning 4 weeks plus 3 days. So 3 odd days. Likewise for April there are total 30 days. 30 days can be again split as 4 weeks plus 2 days. So that 2 extra days gives us the number of days for April. And so on up to December, the calculation is shown here. So number of odd days is what is given in column number 3 for each of the months. Now if you remember in the previous question where we had found the day of the week for 15th August 1947, we have considered all these values, right? For January 3, for Feb 0, for March 3, April 2 and so on. But now with this fourth column here, we will be able to avoid that individual calculation. The value in this fourth column tells us the number of odd days for all the previous months. So this way we can save some time by avoiding the calculation for the individual months. Let's understand what the calculation here is. Now as I said, the fourth column actually is the cumulative number of odd days for all the previous months. For example, if you look at January, we will not have anything. January, it's not applicable, because if we calculate the day of the week for a given date in Jan, right, we directly take the number of days. Let's say we have to find out the day of the week for 14th January 1967. So up to 1966 we'll calculate the number of odd days. Then when it comes to the 1967th year, since the first month is taken here, we'll directly say 14 days, because 14th January is what needs to be calculated. So for Jan, there is no cumulative number of odd days. But from February onwards, we'll have some number which will show us the cumulative number of odd days. That is nothing but the total number of odd days for all the previous months. So let's see. In the month of Feb, we have to take it as 3. So simple point here is, if you are trying to find out the day of a week for any date in Feb, for all the previous months, the total number of odd days will be 3. Now, before Feb, we have only 1 month, which is Jan, and since Jan has got 3 odd days, we have directly got 3 here. So let's say we have to find out, the day of the week for 14 Feb 1973. So up to 1972, we have to do the calculation of number of odd days, which is regular. When it comes to the 1973rd year, we have to calculate the number of days for Jan, right? Directly 3. Then we'll say 14 Feb. So directly we'll take 14 for the number of days in Feb. Next comes March. For March again we have taken 3. That means if you have to calculate any day of the week for any date in March, we need to find out the number of odd days in Jan and number of odd days in Feb. Then you have to add all those values. So instead of doing that individual calculation, we can directly say it is 3 for all the previous months. What is the calculation here? 3 plus 0 will give us 3. So total number of odd days for all the months before March is 3. So let's say we have to find out 28 March 1993. Now for calculating 28 March 1993 up to 1992, calculate the number of odd days. Then we have to find out the number of odd days in Jan and Feb. Instead of doing that individual calculation, directly take 3 for March, and then 28 March, so plus 28. Alright, so that's the logic, and this way we continue and find out the total number of odd days or cumulative odd days for the month. So basically the number here represents the code for the month. So based on that month, if you can remember the value, that will give us the number of odd days for all the previous months. Let us now look at the next month, April. For April we have got 6 here. So if you have to calculate the day of the week for any date in April for all the previous months, that is Jan, Feb and March, the total number of odd days is 6. So that's nothing but 3 plus 0 plus 3. The total calculation here is 6. Likewise for May, total number of odd days for all the previous months is 1. So from January to April, if you observe, what is the total number of odd days? 3 plus 0, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 2, 8. 8 odd days. 8 odd days is equivalent to 1 odd day. So for May we have taken 1. So the point here is, if we are calculating any date in May for all the previous months, all the 4 months, the number of odd days is 1. And then take the date of May to find out the total number of odd days. So this way the calculation continues. Now if you observe, up to May we have got 1. Then in the month of May we have got 3. So 1 plus 3 will give us 4. Then 4 plus 2 gives us 6. 6 plus 3. 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 can be taken as 1 week plus 2 days. So we have got 2. Then 2 plus 3 is 5. So 5. That means for September the code is 5. So if the date belongs to the month of September, we need to take 5 plus that date. Likewise for October, 5 plus 2, 7. 7 odd days is equal to 0 odd days. So for October we have got 0. So if we have to calculate the any date for October, what do? Take 0 plus that date of October. November it is 0 plus 3, 3. December it is 3 plus 2, 5. Right? So just remember this table here. For Jan we have nothing here. Then 3, 3, 6, 1, 4, 6, 2, 5, 0, 3, 5. Again, if you want to go ahead and calculate, let's understand what happens. Now next month, after December, we again get January, right? That means the cycle rotates. Now what will be the total number of cumulative odd days for January? For all its previous months, right? That's what happens. So for all the previous months, 3 plus 5. Yes or no? Up to December, we have got 5. Plus in December, we have got 3. 3 plus 5, 8. 8 is equal to 1 odd day. So we'll get 1 here. Now what does this 1 indicate? We very well know that in any ordinary year there is only 1 odd day. Yes or no? For any ordinary year there is only 1 odd day. And since we have considered an ordinary year, for all the months January to December, that means all the months before January, for whole year we have got 1 odd day. Right? So that's the point. Just remember this column here, column number 4, which is nothing but the code of the month. But be careful, if it is the month of Feb in a leap year, we'll have 29 here. Accordingly we'll get 1 here, and this becomes 4. And likewise all the other values changes. But instead of changing every other value, simply remember that if it is a leap year, we have to take plus 1 if the date is after 28th Feb. And you have to take the same value if the date is before or equal to 28th Feb. Right? Let's understand with the help of an example. We'll take the same example that we have taken earlier, 15th August 1947. Right? So let's see how is this table here, right, this last column here, helpful in finding out the number of odd days. So what do we do? 1947, up to 1600 years, 0 odd days. Then for 300 years, 1 odd day. Then comes 46 years, right? We are not considering the 47th year, right? Only up to 46 years, 1901 to 1946. So for 46 years, how many odd days? 46 years will have 1 odd day every year. But since there are 11 years, we'll have extra 11 odd days. So plus 11. Now comes the 1947th year, right? 1947th year. In 1947th year, we are referring to the month of August. We are in the month of August. What is the code for August? August, the code is 2. So directly take 2. And what is the date? 15. And since this is an ordinary year, we don't have to worry about, one additional day in the month of Feb and so on, right? So directly take this total and you'll get the answer. So what's the logic here? 0, because for past 1600 years, 0 odd days. 1 for 300 years, 1900. Then why 46? Because up to 1901 to 1946, there are 46 years. 46 years will have at least 1 odd day every year. So 46 and 11 years. So 11 odd days. This calculation we have already understood in the previous example, right? Where we have done in detail calculation. Then this 2 is the helpful part here. Earlier, for the month of August or up to the month of August, we need to calculate for Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, July. Individually we did the calculation. But now that part is eliminated. Directly take the code for August, which is 2. Right? And 15, because the date is 15 here. Now add all these values, we'll get the total number of odd days, and through which we can find out the day of the week. Now do the calculation. See, understand, as I said, wherever we have complete weeks, we can remove that part. For example, 46 is nothing but 6 weeks plus 4 days. 46 can be taken as 42 days plus 4 days. 42 days is equal to 6 complete weeks plus 4. So we can directly take it as 4. Likewise, 11 can be taken as 1 week plus 4 days. And 15 can be taken as 2 weeks plus 1 day. So this way we can simplify our calculation much faster. Now add and find out the total number of odd days. 1 plus 4, 5. 5 plus 4, 9. 9 plus 2, 11. 11 plus 1, 12. So total 12 odd days. But 12 odd days you know is equivalent to 5 odd days, because 12 odd days can be taken as 1 week plus 5 days. And what does 5 indicate? Friday. So we can say that 15th August 1947 was a Friday. So in fact the same answer, whatever earlier calculation that we had done in detail, that gave us Friday. Here with the help of this column, that is the code for the month, we can get the answer a little faster. Let's take another example to understand the application of this one. Let's consider some other date. For example, 1st of May 1988. Now we have to find out what day of the week it is, right? So no need to worry about that detailed calculation, right? The calculation actually is very simple. 1988 up to 1600 years, 0 odd days. Then 1601 to 1900, 1 odd day plus. Now we are in the 88th year. So forget about the 88th year. First calculate from 1901 to 1987. 1901 to 1987, we have got 87 years. So 87 plus. How many leap years are there in this set of 87 years? In 87 years we'll have 21 leap years, because 87 when we divide by 4 we'll get the quotient as 21, right? 1904, 1908, so on up to 1984, 21 leap years. And each of these 21 leap years will have one additional odd day, right? So we'll say plus 21, because each leap year has one additional odd day. Now comes the 88th year. Now in the 88th year we are referring to the month of May. Understand, the year 88 was a leap year, right? 1988 was a leap year, and that too this month is May, which means after February. Are you able to follow? So 1988, the month of February had 29 days, which means one extra day. Here we have considered only 28. So because it is a leap year and the date is after 28th February, we have to consider plus 1, right? So this 1 is an important part here. Be careful about this. Now consider the month of May. Month of May, 5th month, right? May has got how many odd days? What is the code for May? 1. What does this 1 indicate? The total number of odd days for all the previous months. So we'll take that 1 and the first day of the month. That is plus 1 again. Like in the previous case it was 15th August. So we have taken 15. Now it is 1st May. So we have taken 1. So what is the calculation? This 1 indicates the number of odd days for 300 years. 1601 to 1900. 87 is the number of odd days for 87 years. 1901 to 1987. 21 for the number of leap years. What is this one? Since it was a leap year, 88, and the date is after February, we have to consider 1, because Feb had 1 extra day in that year. What is this one? This one is the code for the month here. The code for May is 1. So that 1. And the last one here shows the date, right? 1st of May. So we have to take 1. Now add all these values. See again, 87 can be taken as 3 odd days. 84 plus 3. 84 is equal to 12 weeks. 21 is 0 odd days, right? And remaining all are 1, 1 and 1. So add up 1 plus 3, 4. 4 plus 0, 4. 4 plus 1, 5. Plus 1, 6. Plus 1, 7. So we have got total 7 odd days. And 7 odd days is equal to 1 week, 1 complete week. 1 complete week means what? 0 odd days, right? 0 odd days. And what is 0 odd days indicate? 0 odd days indicate Sunday. So we can say 1st May 1988 was a Sunday. So this is how simple is the calculation for finding out the day of the week for any given date, right? Initially it may look to be a little lengthy and complicated, but if you practice a few problems, I'm sure you'll be able to do the calculations much faster, right? All you need to understand is how do you split up the given date, right? In terms of years, months and the days there, right? And the days of the month, right? Just remember that every 100 years we have 5 odd days, 200 years 3 odd days, 300 years 1 odd day, and 400 years 0 odd days. Get the point? And you need to quickly calculate the number of ordinary years and leap years for the additional number of years there, right? For example, here from 1901 to 1987, that calculation. right? And then remember the code of the month. The code of the month you need to learn by heart, right? Simple. Starting from Feb, it is 336, 146, 250 and 35. For January it will not be anything, because if it is the month of Jan, we'll directly take the date of that month. We don't have any previous months there. Okay, and then if you add up everything, you will get the total number of odd days, and with the reference chart of the days there, right, where you have seen 0 odd days is Sunday, 1 odd days is Monday, and so on, you can directly say the day of the week. So 0 odd days, Sunday. That's your answer. Now that we have learned how to find out the day of the week for any given day using the concept of odd days, let us take a few examples from model 1 of this topic. Example 1. Today is Tuesday. What day will it be after 46 days? So here the given information says that today is a Tuesday, and we need to find out what day of the week will it be after 46 days. Now we very well understand that to find out the day of the week, we need to first understand the number of odd days in the given period. Now the given period here is 46 days. 46 days can be taken as 6 complete weeks plus 4 days. Because 6 weeks will have 42 days. 6 into 7, 42. So 42 days will be 6 complete weeks, and then we have additional 4 days. So we can say the number of odd days in the period of 46 days will be equal to 4. So we have got total 4 odd days in the period of 46 days. Now we know that from our reference chart, 4 odd days will give us a Thursday. But remember that when we use the reference chart, our reference day is a Sunday. We generally start from 0th day, right? We know that 1st January of the first year was a Monday. So before that it was a Sunday, and from that day onwards, if we consider 4 odd days, we will take it as a Thursday. But here the reference is Tuesday. Today it is a Tuesday. So to find out what day will it be after 46 days, we need to take it from Tuesday but not from Sunday. So Tuesday we know is equal to 2 odd days, right? Tuesday indicates 2 odd days. So Tuesday today is 2 odd days plus 4 odd days in 46 days. So altogether we have got 2 plus 4, 6 odd days. So this can be taken as Tuesday, which is equal to 2 odd days plus 4 odd days, which is 6 odd days, right? So total number of odd days here is 6, and 6 odd days means a Saturday. So we can say that after 46 days it will be a Saturday. So the most important point that we need to understand here is we are starting from a Tuesday. If we start from a Sunday, directly we can say that there will be 4 odd days, which means a Thursday. But since it is Tuesday, which is equal to 2 odd days, and the 4 odd days in this period of 46 days will give us a total of 6 odd days, and 6 odd days gives us a Saturday. So after 46 days it is going to be a Saturday. Let us now look at example number 2. This says, on what dates of May 2003 did Friday fall? So we need to find out all those dates in the month of May 2003 when it was a Friday. So on what dates, 4 or 5 dates of the month of May 2003 when it was a Friday. Now to do this, let us first understand what day was 1st May 2003. Let us first understand the day of the week for 1st May 2003, and based on that we can find out when was a Friday in the month of May. Now 1st May 2003, this is a general calculation. How do we calculate the day of the week for 1st May 2003? Consider the odd number of days in the entire period from first day of the first year to 1st May 2003, right? That is starting from 1st January of first year up to 1st May of 2003. So when we get the total number of odd days in this entire period, we will get to know the day of the week for 1st May 2003. Now how do we do this number of odd days? We can say in 2000 years, in the first 2000 years, there will be 0 odd days. What is the reason? We know that every 400 years the number of odd days will be 0, and since 2000 years is a multiple of 400 years, in all those 2000 years the total number of odd days would be 0. Now we need to look at the number of odd days from the year 2001 up to 1st May 2003. Now what is the number of odd days in 2001? So we can now take it as 2001 plus 2002, number of odd days in 2001 plus the number of odd days in 2002. Now comes the year 2003. Now we are not considering the whole of the year 2003. We only have to look at the month of May, right? Up to the month of May. And as we have learned from the reference chart for the months, we don't have to do the individual calculation for January, February, March and April. We can directly take the code for the month of May, right? So the code for the month of May plus we are looking at the 1st of May. So we need to add that date, which is 1st of May. Now the number of odd days in 2001. 2001 was an ordinary year. So number of odd days here was 1 plus number of odd days in 2002. Since it was an ordinary year, it will be 1. What is the code for May? From the reference chart that we have discussed, we know that the code for May is also 1, right? So the code for May is 1. What does this 1 indicate? The total number of odd days in all the previous months before month. So Jan plus Feb plus March plus April, all these 4 months together have only 1 odd day, which is the code for May, right? And this last one, what does this one indicate? This is the date of the month. We are trying to understand what was 1st May 2003. So that is 1. So totally we have got 4. That means 4 odd days. So from the starting point, that is 1st January of the first year up to 1st May 2003, we have got total 4 odd days. 4 odd days indicate a Thursday. So we can say that 1st May 2003 was a Thursday. But the question says, on what dates of May 2003 did Friday fall? Now 1st May 2003 was a Thursday. So it's obvious that the 2nd May 2003 will be a Friday. 2nd of May 2003 will be a Friday. So on what all dates will it be a Friday? Let's calculate. Let's understand. So Fridays will fall on, all the Fridays will fall on 2nd of May. The first Friday will be on 2nd of May. Since 1st May 2003 is Thursday, 2nd May 2003 will be a Friday. Now we know that the same day would come after every 7 days, right? After the completion of week. So 2nd of May plus 7 days, which will give us 9th of May. So 9th of May was the 2nd Friday. And after 9th of May, we'll have it on 16th May. After 16th, it will be 23rd of May. And 23rd plus 7 is equal to 30. And since May has got 31 days, 30 will also come under that. So 30th of May was also a Friday. So altogether we have 5 Fridays in that month, which is on 2nd, 9th, 16th, 23rd and 30th. So this is how we can find out on what dates of a particular month will a particular day fall. Like in our case, it is May 2003 and the day is Friday. So all we need to do is find out the day of the week for the first date of that month or any other date of that month, and based on that we can find out on what dates will Friday or any given day fall, right? So total we have got 5 Fridays in the month of May 2003, and those Fridays fall on 2nd, 9th, 16th, 23rd and 30th. Let us now take the next example from model 1 of calendar. The question here is, if 11th September 1989 was Monday, what was the day of the week on 4th November 1995? So here we know that 11th September 1989 was Monday, and based on this we need to find out the day of the week for 4th November 1995. We have very well understood that to find out the day of the week for a given date, we need to calculate the number of odd days. The number of odd days from the starting, that is 1st Jan of the first year to the given date. But in this case, since we already know that 11th September 1989 was Monday, we don't have to calculate the number of odd days from 1st Jan of the first year. Instead, we'll find out the number of odd days in the period of 11th September 1989 to 4th November 1995. And based on this number of odd days, we can find out the day of the week for 4th November 1995. So let us calculate the number of odd days from 11th September 1989 up to 4th November 1995. Now an easier way of finding out the number of odd days here would be to break up the period, right? So let us break it up as 11th September 1989 to 11th September 1995 plus from 12th September onwards, from 12th September 1995 to the given date, that is 4th November 1995. So we have split the given period as 11 September 1989 to 11 September 1995, and then from 12 September 1995 to 4th November 1995. So let us calculate the number of odd days for the first period and the number of odd days for the second period, and by adding these two number of odd days we get the effective number of odd days for the required period. Now how do we calculate the number of odd days for the first period here? If you observe, 11 September 1989 to 11 September 1995 is a period of 6 years, right? 1989 to 90, 1990 to 91, 91 to 92, 92 to 93, 93 to 94, and 94 to 95. So there is a period of 6 years, and in these 6 years we have 5 ordinary years and only 1 leap year, right? What are the 5 ordinary years? 1989 to 1990, that is 11 September 1989 to 11 September 1990 is an ordinary year which will have only 1 odd day. Then from 1990, again 11 September 1990 to 11 September 1991, another ordinary year, so 1 more odd day. 11 September 1991 to 11 September 1992. Now if you observe, in this period 11 September 1991 to 11 September 1992 we have a leap year. Why? In this period comes the month of February of the year 1992. Since 1992 is a leap year, in that year Feb will have 29 days. So we can say that in the period of 11 September 1991 to 1992 there will be 2 odd days, since it is like a leap year, right? Then again from 92 to 93 ordinary year, 93 to 94 another ordinary year, and 94 to 95 is the last ordinary year. So in the total period of 6 years we have 5 ordinary years and only 1 leap year. Alright, so what will be the total number of odd days? Each of the ordinary years will give us 1 odd day. So 5 into 1, 5 odd days, plus 1 leap year will give us 2 odd days. So altogether we have got 7 odd days in the first period, right? 5 into 1 plus 1 into 2. This can also be calculated in another way. What is that? This is the total period of 6 years. 6 years will definitely have 6 odd days, and since one of the years is a leap year here, in that year there will be 1 additional odd day. So 6 odd days plus 1 additional odd day will give us total 7 odd days. In fact, 7 odd days is equivalent to 0 odd days. So we can say that this period had 0 odd days, or there is no odd days in the first period. Now we have to find out the number of odd days from 12th September 1995 to 4th November 1995. Now, since this is not a complete period where we can directly talk about the number of odd days, we need to calculate individually for each of the months. Now from 12th September to 30th September of 1995, there will be 19 days, yes or no? 12th to 30th September. So 30 minus 11, there will be 19, right? Understand, do not take 30 minus 12. We know that in the month of September there are 30 days. So to find out the remaining days, don't take 30 minus 12. If you take 30 minus 12, we'll get only 18 days. But understand, we need to consider 12th September as well. So we'll only subtract the first 11 days, right, which have already been included in the first period there. So what will be the number of days in the month of September? Remaining days in the month of September, there will be 19 days. 30 minus 11. So 19 days plus. Next comes the month of October. We know that October has 31 days, and 31 days can be taken as 3 odd days, because 4 complete weeks and 3 extra days. So in the month of October we have 3 odd days. And now comes the month of November 1995. We are taking the date 4th November. So we should take total 4 days. So this will give us the number of odd days in the second period. So 19 plus 3 plus 4, or we very well know that 19 can be taken as 5 odd days, since 19 is equal to 2 complete weeks plus 5 days. So 5 plus 3 plus 4, right? Again, if you understand, 3 plus 4 makes 7. So 7 odd days is equal to 0 odd days. So you can eliminate this. So this way, when you have to calculate the total number of odd days for any given question, the calculation becomes much faster, right? Wherever you see 7 odd days, right, 7 complete days, just get rid of that and only calculate for the remaining days. So if you observe, 0 odd days in the first period, and in the second period we have only 5 odd days. 5 plus 7 is equal to 5 plus 0 here, right? So total 5 odd days in the second period. So what is the effective number of odd days? 0 odd days plus 5 odd days. Total we can say 5 odd days. Total we have got 5 odd days in the entire period of 11 September 1989 to 4th November 1995. Now we know that 5 odd days would mean a Friday. So 4th November 1995 should be a Friday, but be careful, we are going wrong here. The reason is that we are starting on 11 September 1989, or our reference is 11 September 1989, which was a Monday, right? So we need to consider Monday and then 5 odd days. Monday plus 5 odd days will be equal to total 6 odd days. Since Monday is nothing but 1 odd day, right? We are getting a Monday, means there is 1 odd day. So 1 plus 5, total 6 odd days. Alright, so the day of the week for 4th November 1995 can be taken as 4th November 1995 can be taken as Monday plus 5 odd days. Monday is nothing but 1 odd day, as we have learned from the reference chart. So 1 plus 5 equals to 6 odd days, and 6 odd days means that it was a Saturday. So what was the day of the week for 4th November 1995? It was a Saturday. Remember, the solution may look to be lengthy, but then the calculation is not difficult. All you need to do is quickly find out the number of odd days in this period, and based on that we can find out the day of the week. Let us now look at the second model from the topic of calendar, where we are required to find the day of the week for the given date without any other reference given in the question. We have already solved a couple of such questions in the introduction part, where we have found the day of the week for 15th August 1947 and 1st of May 1988. So a similar procedure has to be applied here to get the answers. But remember, for you to get the answers quickly without any difficulty, you need to remember the code of the month. That is nothing but the total number of odd days for all the months before the given month. But remember that for you to be able to answer these questions quickly without any difficulty, you need to remember the code of the month, which gives us the total number of odd days for all the months that comes before the given month. With the help of this code of the month, we can do the calculation of number of odd days very quickly. Let us now look at the given examples. So the first example here is, what day of the week was 18th February 1348? So a very direct question without any reference, that is no other date or days given in the question here, right? So we need to find out the day of the week for 18th Feb 1348. Now we know that to find out the day of the week for this particular date, we need to calculate the number of odd days starting from 0th day, right? Or the period of 1st January of the first year to 18th February 1348. And based on this number of odd days, we can find the day of the week. So how do we calculate the number of odd days? We'll split this period, right? That is 1st January of the first year to 13th February 1348 can be split into different parts, where the calculation of number of odd days is very easy. So it can be taken as first 1200 years, right, plus 100 years. What are these 100 years? From 1201 to 1300, right? 1201 to 1300, that is those 100 years, plus we are in the 48th year of this particular century, right? So we need to consider the previous 47 years, those 47 years. Then in the 48th year, we are referring to the month of Feb, and the date here is 18th, right? So we need to take the number of odd days for all these small individual periods, right? So 1200 plus 100 is 1300 years, 1300 years plus 47 is 1347 years. Then we are in the 48th year, 1348th year. The month is Feb and the date is 18. Now we know that 1200 years will have 0 odd days, because it is a multiple of 400, and every 400 years we get 0 odd days. So that is 0 odd days. 100 years, as we have discussed in the introduction, will have 5 odd days, right? 100 years will have 5 odd days. So this will be equal to 5 odd days. Here it is 0 plus 5 plus 47 years, the number of odd days in 47 years. So for this we need to find out the number of leap years. Now in 47 years we'll have 11 leap years, right? From 1304, 1308, 1312 up to 1344, there will be 11 leap years. Basically we need to check the divisibility of 47 by 4. It goes 11 times, right? 47 by 4 will give us 11 as a quotient. So we can say 11 leap years. Now 47 years will have 47 odd days, and since there are 11 leap years, those 11 leap years will have one additional odd day. So plus 11. We have already understood this calculation in the earlier examples that we have taken. Now comes the month of February. What is the code for February? The code for February is 3, right? That is nothing but the number of odd days for the months that comes before Feb. So it is equal to 3. But one important point that we need to keep in mind here is we are in the year 1348 now, right? Feb and 18, this refers to the year 1348, and 1348 is a leap year. Yes or no? The year 1348 would be a leap year because it is exactly divisible by 4. So we know that for leap years there will be one additional odd day. So we need to take plus 1. But the point to be noted here is 18th Feb 1348 comes before 28th Feb 1348. That means that extra odd day that we get in a leap year is beyond this date. Hence, we need not consider that extra odd day in the calculation. Had the same calculation been for some other date which is after Feb, for example, let's say 1st of March 1348, or some date in October, 12th of October 1348, then what do? We'll take the code for October and we'll take plus 1 because 12th October comes after the month of February, which means there will be one additional odd day in that period. But since this 18th Feb 1348, though it is a leap year, it is before the actual additional day, so we need not consider that extra day, right? And so for Feb we have taken the code as 3 and 18th date, right? 18 days, so this 18. Now by adding all these values we will get the total number of odd days, and that will give us the day of the week. So let's simplify this. 47 can actually be taken as 5 odd days because 47 is 6 weeks plus 5 days. 11 can be taken as 4 odd days, 1 week and 4 days. Now 4 plus 3 again gives us 7. 7 is equal to 0 odd days. 18 can be taken as 4 odd days. Yes or no? 18 is equal to 2 weeks plus 4 days. So 4 odd days. So the total number of odd days are 5 plus 5 plus 4. 5 plus 5 plus 4 is 14. Again 14 odd days is equal to what? 0 odd days, because 14 odd days is 2 complete weeks. So we are getting the total number of odd days to be 0. And 0 refers to a Sunday. So we can say that 18 Feb 1348 was a Sunday. So that's the calculation which we need to do, right? You need not write all these individual parts while solving it in the exam. It is only for your understanding, right? No need to write 1200 years. Anyway, number of odd days will be 0. 100 years, it will be 5. Then remaining 47 years will have 47 odd days, and since there are 11 leap years, 11 additional odd days. Then 3 refers to the code of Feb, right? The month code is 3. 18 is the date here. 18 is the date, so plus 18. And though it is a leap year, we are not taking additional 1 odd day here because 18 Feb 1348 is before the actual additional day, that is 29 Feb 1348. Now do this calculation, get the total number of odd days, which will give us the day of the week. So 0 odd days refers to a Sunday. So we can say that 18 Feb 1348 was a Sunday. Maybe it looks to be difficult now or a lengthy calculation now, but if you practice a few questions, I am sure you will be capable enough of finding out the day of the week without putting anything on paper, right? All you need to do is get the total number of odd days. Let us now look at the second example. Question here is, what day of the week will be 8th June 2215? Now this is a future date, right? 8th June 2215. Let us now find out the number of odd days again for this period, but without writing these individual parts, right? We must now be able to do it without writing all these steps. Now if you observe 2215, so first 2000 years, 0 odd days, right? Every 400 years we have 0 odd days. So 400 into 5 gives us 2000 years. 2000 years will have 0 odd days. So 2000 years is gone. Now left out is 215 years. Now 200 years, out of 215 years, let's consider 200 years. 200 years will have 3 odd days. We have calculated this in the introduction, right? 100 years will have 5 odd days. 200 years will have actually 10 odd days, but 10 odd days can be taken as 3 odd days. So we'll take 3. Then comes the remaining 15 years. Now we need not consider the 15th year because we have to calculate the day of the week for some date in 15th year itself. Only the previous 14 years, right? The previous 14 years will have 14 odd days. But in these 14 years we have 3 leap years, right? 0, 4, 0, 8 and 12. 3 leap years. And 3 leap years gives us 3 additional odd days. So plus 3. Right? right? Now comes the month. Now we are in the 2215th year. Yes or no? 2000 years, 0 odd days. 200 years, 3 odd days. 14 years, 14 odd days, 3 leap years, 3 extra odd days. Now we are in the month of June, right? Now we are in the year 2215 where the month is June. What is the code for June? The code for June is 4, right? The month code for June is 4. 4 is nothing but the total number of odd days for all the months which come before June. That is from January to May. The total number of odd days is 4. Now we also need to check whether the year 2215 is leap year or ordinary year. If it is a leap year, we'll take +1. Otherwise, we'll just proceed with the date. Now 2215 is an ordinary year because 15 is not divisible by 4. Ordinary year means there will not be any extra day. So the month code is over, and finally we have to take the date, which is 8. Now add these values, right? 14 anyway is equal to 0. 14 odd days is equal to 2 complete weeks, which means 0 odd days, right? So 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 4, 10 and 8 is 18. 18 odd days. 18 odd days can be taken as 4 odd days, because 18 days can be split as 2 complete weeks plus 4 odd days. Now 4 odd days means Thursday. 4 refers to Thursday. So we can say that the day of the week here for the given date, 8th June 2215, will be a Thursday. So this is how simple is the calculation to find out the number of odd days so that we can get the day of the week for the given date. And as I've mentioned, if you can remember the code of the month, here 3 was the code of the month for Feb, and here 4 was the code of the month for June. So if this you learn by heart, it becomes really very simple to do the calculation. Remaining all are very easy to remember. Only thing is we need to learn the month codes. So learn all the month codes which we have discussed in the introduction part, so that you can get the answers much faster. So that is all from the topic of calendars. I hope all of you have followed this very interesting concept of number of odd days, which can help us find out the day of the week for any given date, whether it is a past date or a future date. And now you are ready to surprise your friends, where if they tell you any date, you can tell them the day of the week for that given date. So practice well on this concept of odd days, so that you can solve the different types of questions that are asked from this topic of calendars. All the best. See you in the next session. Thank you.